Hello, it's Kathy McAllister, Teawife Creations. How are you guys doing? I see Carrie and Denise and Virginia. Hello, everybody. Come on in and say hi. Let me know where you're from, how the weather's going. Um, so, hello, Lisa. So just come on in. So today we're going to be doing this mixed media project. Anyway, I'm going to try to get as much of this done as possible. But I did include in the comments section or in the intro section that I have a group called Artistic Laser Cuts and Painted Fingers. And if you're not a member of that, feel free to join. It's free. So, all right, I better dig into this. Otherwise, we are never going to get finished. But I'm going to try to make as much progress as possible. So I'm going to take away my picture and we're just going to concentrate on the stuff here. What I did is, in order to paint some of this, I've already blocked in some of the color on this one. But first, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how the sprays work. Okay, so I have this, it is engraved from my laser cutter. And I have blocked in the warm white here, or actually I think I used light buttermilk, only because I discovered when I did this the first time that the colors, the sprays, even though I sealed everything, they still kind of want it to come through. So I went ahead and I went ahead and blocked them out before I sprayed, and it did actually do a better job of sealing the white petals. The purple petals, it's okay because you kind of want some of the background color to come through. That's part of mixed media. These projects never turn out the same the second time you do them or the third time you do them. So that's the beauty of these mixed media pieces. Every time you do them, they're going to be a little bit different. You can tell even on this background, like after I sprayed this background, it was too muddy down here, so I had to take a little bit of the Media Fluid Acrylics and dab it on in here. But then the other day, when I repeated this, I liked the way that this worked out. This worked out great, so I didn't have to come back in with any other acrylic. But you are going to get different results every time, and that's what makes it really fun. So the pattern that you can get from me, it does have the line art in it, but I also will have these available. These are the engraved watercolor. It's a 140-pound hot press 9x12, and these sprays work really well on watercolor paper. They just really soak in. But you see you have the line art here. It's very simple line art. It's really all about the color. It isn't about my lack of ability to draw. So it really is all about the colors that we're putting on. And but so you can do this yourself. You can trace it however you want to put it on, or you can purchase this where this is actually etched into the watercolor paper. And even after we spray it, you'll be able to see the background. Okay, so this is a really fun process, but it's also extremely messy. And I've got my silicone mat underneath, but a lot of times when I spray, I also will just put down some paper. It just helps the cleanup a little bit. Let me put this there. And then a lot of people, the way I found out about these sprays is I was in paper crafting for a long time, paper crafting, and I still am in mixed media. So, but when I was doing a lot of paper crafting, we would use this to do backgrounds and stuff on our cards and scrapbook pages and things like that. So these are made by Lindy's Stamp Gang. So probably a lot of you who have done paper crafting before have seen these before. And I wanted to find a way to incorporate it into the decorative painting work that I do now to make it more mixed media. And so you can take this when it's done, as I did here, and you can glue this. This is actually glued onto a wood panel. So this paper, watercolor paper, was glued on using art glitter glue. And so then it becomes, it just becomes an interesting mixed media piece. Okay. So I'm going to move these pieces out of the way. This spray can go everywhere. So I'm just going to stick this over here. Okay, so I don't have yellow in the Lindy's line. I had forgotten to buy yellow. So I've told you guys before, one of the ways that you can mix your own products is if you have a bottle, and if you have a fixative such as Final Fix, okay, which I sell on my site. If you mix Final Fix halfway and water halfway, and then a little bit of mica powder and a little bit, a few drops, like 3 to 6 drops of a media fluid acrylic, you can build your own sprays. So again, you need half fixative, half water, mica powder, and media fluid acrylic. You can use the Americana. It's just that this has more pigment in it, so you need less of it. And it's just a stronger color. So we are going to start with the yellow. And we're going to create a pathway for the Dragonfly. So it's a ray of sunshine coming down on a Colorado day. The reason I have 2 different ones is I made one with a powder called Brusho, which is a dye, and then the other I made with the media fluid acrylics. Okay, so before you spray, go ahead and spritz with water. And on this pattern, like I said, I blocked out this with light buttermilk. You could have used warm white as well. Okay, so I'm going to take my yellow, shake it up, make sure that there's no mica hanging around, mica powder hanging around at the bottom there. Hi, Henrietta. Okay, so here we go. So I'm just going to spray. And the yellow spray is going to come about 2/3 of the way down. Now, with yellow, you definitely need to make sure that you're not spraying blue directly against it while it's wet. So this particular project does not have any green in it. So I am going to try to dry a little bit of the yellow. Now, if you want, you can move it around if you want. Let it drip, move. That's up to you. So I partially dried it, and now I'm going to come back and put in some more. I've got these 2 yellows going on, so I can't remember which one I like better. Okay. So if we look at this, we can see where that is, where the yellow is. I've probably got more yellow this time. Okay. Anyway, I just love doing this part so much. Now, some people, after they get paint on the back of their paper towels, they keep some of this after it's really colorful and vibrant, and they use it in some of their projects as instead of decoupage paper. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead. It's okay to allow the red and the magenta to come up against the yellow. That's okay. So this is still a little wet. So I've got this peony scarlet rose, which is a beautiful kind of red tone. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and concentrate on the corners. This corner here, I'm going to bring it down about 1/3. The corners down here, I'm only going to bring it up a couple of inches. So I'm going to start spraying. A little bit down here. Okay. Alrighty. So, and it's okay to get a little bit of speckle into the yellow. It helps to bring all the colors together in regards to if you just trapped your red here and didn't bring any speckles into the yellow, it would feel a little trapped. So you need a little bit of spritzing going on there. But like I said, don't spray blue in here until the yellow is dry. This, we're starting out with these Lindy Starburst sprays. So they work great with watercolor paper. I have put half of a fixative in them to give us a little bit more sealing. So you add warm water to them. But for our purposes, I just find if you fill half of it with fixative, that you're going to get more permanency to your artwork, and it's not going to bleed through as much. So that's why I like to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reinforce some more yellow. I'm even going to bring a little yellow in there. Okay, and then I'm going to introduce a little bit of purple. This is Witch's Potion. Yeah, Witch's Potion purple. You can see how the mica can get stuck at the bottom. Sometimes you need to go in there and kind of stir it a little bit. So just kind of willy-nilly spray where you want to spray. Hey, Julia. You spray, the water is sprayed, spritzed over everything. And then like before you do the blue, like it's getting dry there, there's nothing to stop spritzing some more. And you can see how it kind of activates the dye underneath it. This is another thing on your craft surface after you finish doing this. Make sure you get all of this up because the dyes will reactivate with water, and it can transfer on to whatever project you're getting ready to work on. So do be kind of careful with that. All right. So I want to add in a little bit different dimension. This is an orange. It's Hagswort orange. The people over at Lindy's have a sense of humor. So Hagswort orange. Okay. And then if you want your red to be even richer, you can come back a little bit with more red. And do a bit more yellow. So it's getting pretty dry down here, so it might be safe for me to come in with my blue. And my blue is, this one is Hydrangea Blue. The other blue that I was using is Apothecary Azure. Okay, so we're going in a U. And of course, you don't have to spray it the way I sprayed it. You can spray it however you want to. But my thought was, this is a Colorado mountainside, kind of the sun's getting ready to go down, the dragonfly's going up into the sunlight, and the blue mountains and blue sky. So all right, here we go. I'm going to start doing the blue. If you slow it down, you can get slightly bigger droplets. So you just have to kind of figure out how to control the paint application, the spray application. So very messy, but I love it. It's better when it's messy. It's more fun. And because there's mica in this, you get a real shimmer that's left over, and you get random pooling of color. So you can see there's some gold and stuff coming up in this. So, and speaking of gold, I kind of use the gold. This one is Bayou Boogie Gold. I also had gold doubloons, and it kind of works like almost creating a little bit of vintage, but it also helps to sort of blend colors in a way. So it adds some interesting elements. So this one I ended up getting more blue in the yellow, whereas this one I got a little bit more red. And I feel like I need just a touch of red down here. So I'm just going to splatter a little bit. And then I'm going to intensify my yellow by spraying a little bit more yellow. So if the paper starts kind of bowing like this, when you get it a little bit drier, you can kind of flip it over, get your water, flip it over, spritz some water, and now I got a pattern up there. I kind of rushed that. Kind of looks nice, but just come back, go back over it. So I flipped it a little earlier than I should. I always feel a little under pressure because an hour goes by so fast. So, but it will settle down, and like even after the front is dry, you still can turn it over, apply some water, dry it until you get it to lay down. It's the same as any time you're doing stuff on watercolor. I'm sure you're very familiar with that. So I feel like I want my blues to be a little richer. You do need to be careful when you're doing this. The first time I did it, I got too much red and blue overlapping, and it became mud. So you want the blue to be fairly true blue. Now, to add a little bit more fun, there's no green in this project, but I did use some teal. And it adds just a little bit more dimension. So I'm going to come back with a little bit more orange. So you can see I'm just really saturating this. Actually, that was my gold. My bad. This is my orange. All right. So very saturated, and when it dries, it will be similar to this over here. So you can see all of the nice elements. Now, so, all right, well, I kind of like that. And I think that's probably as much as I really need to spray. It's still drying. Does anyone have any questions about how that came together? Because that's pretty much how you do the background, okay? And then these areas here that were blocked out, if you get a baby wipe, I'm not going to get a baby wipe, I'm just going to get a little bit of water. But if you get a baby wipe, you can go in these petals where I pre-painted, and you see how easy that lifts. It just comes off, and you just clean it up. Now, before you start painting on it, clean off your petals, and then, even though there's sealant in all of these products, like I said, it's half fixative, half water, I still come back with a sealant. I use the Final Fix, and I will spritz it. I'm not going to do it now because I want to wipe these off before I do that. So I'm going to let it dry, wipe off my petals, not these, just the ones I pre-painted, and then I'm going to spritz it with Final Fix, and that will help some of the paints from coming out into the project. Some of them still will, because that's the nature of watercolor paper with these sprays. So I am going to move this aside so I can show you how to paint some of this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more Snow White over the top of these flowers to brighten them up again. You really don't need a lot. So you're going to still get some color popping through from the background, and that's fine. That's the way it should be with mixed media.
Days roll by, grass so green, trees sway and sigh, fireflies light up the summer night, stars above shining bright and tight, popsicle in hand, bare feet on sand, sandcastle built, then washed away again. Laughter echoes warm and free, memories made sweet and sweetly. Oh, how I love this summertime. With every breeze my heart takes flight. So that's one coat, and you can still see some of the color popping through, and that's fine. So now we're going to move to these petals here, and we're going to do those in this lavender haze, and that includes these little spurs coming out. So those are leaves, those are spurs, and the spurs are in purple. And I'm going to add in a couple on this one here. So they're not on the sketch, so you'll need to just go ahead and add those in. Again, that's lavender haze. Days roll by, grass so green, trees sway and sigh, fireflies light up the summer night, stars above shining bright and tight, popsicle in hand, bare feet on sand, sandcastle built, then washed away again. Laughter echoes warm and free, memories made sweet and sweetly. Oh, how I love this summertime. With every breeze my heart takes flight.
stripes leaving so kind. Boat rides on the lake, cool and serene. Dad's old boat, we'd sail and stream. Mom's homemade lemonade, cold and sweet. Summer days, memories to keep. Sunset hues paint the sky so wide. Endless fun, no need to hide. Oh, how I love this summertime. With every breeze, my heart takes flight. Patriotic flags wave in the wind. Stars and stripes waving so kind.
Just go with this. Anyway, on the shading, I'm going to start with the lavender haze, and then if I want to go a little darker, I can. So you can do the shading, you know, more traditionally, or you can do a little cup, a little U, kind of a little C in there, because there's some Columbine, especially like the blue Colorado Columbine, that creates like a little dip or a cup. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And if I want it to be darker, I can come back with a little bit of the purple iris. That was a little heavy. I'm just going to come back in. It's just too heavy. Okay. Now, I'll come back to that. I probably am going to do a bit of the purple iris on there. I don't have all my pictures with me. And this one does not have that little shade in there. Because I had pictures that I was showing during the demo of some of the Columbine that they have these little cups, this little indentation in them. Okay, so let me get a bit of the purple iris as well. And as I said, that some of this shading is not really going to show as much once you put in the yellow stamens. Walk that in a little bit. And again, that's the purple iris. Okay, there. Okay. So the way I am looking at these flowers is, I guess I need a little bit of shading on these as well. A little here and there on the spurs. That's their official name. I had to look it up. I was like, what are these things called? What are these things? They're spurs. We're going to add in some yellowy green. You need something that's pretty strong that's going to pop off of this. And it's going to be, that's really the only green that this piece has in it are in the stems and the little leaves. There are other leaves on the Columbine that are kind of curved. I think it's like I think it's a 5-point leaf, and I didn't actually put those in. The picture I had, I didn't see them, but then I was looking at a Columbine that was in my garden. I was thinking, oh yeah, they do have those leaves on them. So they have two different kinds of leaves, at least on the Columbine that I have. Okay, so we're going to just think of the petals on the top as partially shading the petals underneath. So we're going to kind of do that kind of traditional shading. I mean, you can bring it out as far as you want. You can bring it along the sides if you want. You just want to make sure you get some color underneath the white petals. And again, this is purple iris. And after it dries, I'll go back over and just widen out some of the shade areas, because sometimes when you're shading and you go the opposite direction, you remove some of the shade that you just put down, and you just go back, revisit it, and get it to work. Yeah, I have to keep spinning this paper to get it so I can see where I'm going. So even though we're using purple, because to the eye, it mostly looks like a purple flower, it's considered a Columbine blue, I believe. I'm not really much of a Columbine expert. I've grown them in England and in Colorado.
Under the sun, lazy days roll by. Grass so green, trees sway and sigh. Fireflies light up the summer night. Stars above, shining bright and tight. Popsicle in hand, bare feet on sand. Sandcastle built, then washed away again. Laughter echoes warm and free. Memories made sweet and sweetly. Oh, how I love this summertime. With every breeze my heart takes flight. Patriotic flags wave in the wind. Stars and stripes leaving so kind. Boat rides on the lake, cool and serene. Dad's old boat, we'd sail and stream. Mom's homemade lemonade, cold and sweet. Summer days, memories to keep. Sunset hues paint the sky so wide. Endless fun, no need to hide. Oh, how I love this summertime. With every breeze my heart takes flight. Patriotic flags wave in the wind. Stars and stripes waving so kind.
So there's a Hansa yellow medium and a Derylide yellow. You can use Americana yellows. You can use any yellow you have. And we're gonna go ahead and just put in some streaks like stamens, and then we'll come back with dip dots. I finished it off at the end with pearls. But that's like one of the last things you do after everything is sprayed and mounted on your wood. Excuse me. So you need a thin, you need a liner of some sort to do the lines. I'll just use that one. That's a 5/0, and so you're going to go through and use one of your yellows first, and then you can go back after it's dried and use the other yellow. And you can even add in a little bit of white, or wait to do that with the dots. And so you're just stroking in stamens that are just kind of going like a starburst. Who knows if this is the real way it's supposed to look. I'm just going with it and making it up. So you can see that in this picture, these are from my garden, that those are quite elaborate. There's a lot of them. So before you go to the next round, just make sure you get some dryness going on there. So I'm going to go to the Dairy Light Yellow. And again, you're just stroking in. Trying not to completely obscure what you've already done. Go in between some of the ones that you've already done. You can stroke in or stroke out. Doesn't matter which direction you go. I think it works better if you go from the center and stroke out. But because if you go the other direction, you get a blob, a heavy blob going that way. So I think it is better if you can stroke from the center, go out. Okay, give it a little bit of a dry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my Snow White. I just want a lighter color, but I don't want white. So I'm just going to take some of the Snow White that I have over here and a little bit of the Hansa Yellow Medium and a little bit of the Snow White. Not a perfect science or anything. I'm just trying to make a lighter yellow. And you can do this by actually using an Americana color that is the color that you want. I don't know, I think banana is pretty cream, banana cream or something is pretty light. Or you can just add a little bit of white to what you're already using. Just go out. Okay, so now we want to get a medium-sized stylus, and we're going to add in dots. That said, I need to do that, but I also, while I'm working on some of this other stuff, you need to be careful you don't put your hand into the dots. Oh, I'm going to live dangerously. I'm going to go ahead, while my yellow paint is still wet, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm just going to have to be very careful. Okay, medium stylus. I keep pulling out all these tiny stylus. That's actually a large. Oh well, I'm going to go with it. I got a large stylus. Medium to large. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Dairy Light. And I'm just going to put You want them to be different sizes, so this is a perfect time like to do 3 back to back. That means that the first is the biggest one, the last is the smallest one. You want to go out a little bit too. You don't want them all clustered inside. So okay. Okay, and then move to the, what is it, Hansa Yellow Medium? That's the lighter yellow. Oops, yep. They are pretty wet, so if as you move on to do more work, don't put your wrists in this dip dot. Okay, and then that mixture, if you've got enough of that lighter color that you made, otherwise I'm almost out. You might have to mix some more. Hardly had any in the dead center area there. Notice hardly any there too. All right, and then a little bit of Snow White selectively in spots. You just don't want it to completely overwhelm, but you do need, some of these to be white or warm white. Oh, that was a big one. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of try to, get some of it dry. It's got a long way to go before it's really dry, but at least maybe that might help if I get my hands in it. Okay, so now we're going to take a medium, a green gold in the Media Fluid Acrylic line. Now, there are so many green yellows, yellow greens in the Americana line too you can use. Let me see, I didn't pull it out ahead of time. So now I'm like, where is it? really can't find it. Oh, I had it in the wrong place. Okay. I'm actually running out of it. I use it so much. Green gold. So you need a round. You can use a liner to do the stem if you want, or a round. Let's see. I'll get myself around. So that's a 2. Okay, and again, remember, don't put your hand in the dots. Don't put your hand in the dots. And you can do the leaves and the stem. If you want to try to tie in a little bit into the spurs, you can. So if you go outside the line and you want to clean it up a little bit, just kind of get something that you can kind of scrape it off, because if you try to do what you normally would do on wood and like use water, the background sprays will lift. They will rub off. So you don't want to do that. So like an X-Acto knife, or long fingernails, something just to lightly scrape it. Don't worry about it too much. If it's too difficult to remove, if you go outside the lines, just leave it, because you don't want to mess up your background and end up with like a white spot where you've rubbed and the sprays have come off. So again, I'm using a green gold, but there's a lot of yellow greens that are in the Americana line if you don't have the media fluid green gold. Okay, so because it's kind of dark in the background, if you want this to pop some more, I'm going to just take my dirty brush. I'm just going to get a little bit of the hand scent medium, yellow medium, and I'm just going to bring in a little bit of this as a highlight. You also could do another layer of the paint. It might make it just a little bit darker, but I'm going to do it this way. Okay, and then I'm gonna get a little bit more yellow, a little bit of the white mixed in it. I'm going to do the same thing kind of in the areas I want to have a small highlight. And it just makes it pop a little bit more. So, if you want, you can have a little bit of a drop shadow in places with the likes of a Payne's Gray. Let me see. Oh, wow. First one I grabbed in there. So you can do it with a shading brush, or you can get a very, very watery Payne's Gray with that number 2 round that we were just using. And we're just gonna add in some drop shadows. Whoops, going off the edge. That's not actually showing up that much. Everything is so dark. So it may or may not show up. It's kind of sliding right off the some of the sealant that I had down, that I had sprayed. So it's just a little bit there. It's not really very noticeable. I certainly wouldn't want to come back with black. I watered this down a lot, so like if you're brave and you want to come back with some that's not quite so watered down. Let's see. How dark is it if it's not watered down? Yeah, looks like that's the only way we're going to get it to show up, is if it's not quite so watered down. Yeah, that works. So it's pretty much almost 100% Payne's Gray with just a hint of water. Otherwise it just doesn't show up. If you want to drop shadow, oh, there we go. It just gives it a little bit of something going on there. So pick a side that you want the shadow to be on. And I mean, you could, if you wanted to darken it, you could go in various places and drop some Payne's Gray in here and there, but that's up to you if you want more shading. Okay, so we are going to return to the Dragonfly. I had shown the Dragonfly, did a demo on that during the online market spot, so I'm going to just do it again. Once I find my shading brush, there it is. Okay. And the first time I did the butterfly, I did it in Payne's Gray. The second time I did the butterfly, I did it in Cobalt Teal U. So when I did this, I did it first in Payne's Gray, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so dark. So I came back on top of the Payne's Gray with this. So instead of doing the Payne's Gray first, I just started with the Cobalt Teal. And you know, you can mix it up and play around with it. If you want it to be darker and then come back with lighter, you can do that. So you're gonna follow the wings. So the paint really wants to grab onto all the product underneath. So it may like try to delaminate. So try to move around a little bit so that you know you're not going back over some of the area on the other side, and because you don't want to pull the background color off. So move around the Dragonfly a bit to avoid that happening. Yeah, it's really pulling. So all those various fixatives and products underneath are like really trying to pull, and you want to avoid like going back over areas that are wet because you can pull the background up. So you see how quickly that shapes up? This Dragonfly is so super easy to do. And it's a great technique when you are doing dragonflies. If you have the outline shape of the dragonfly and you use any kind of media fluid acrylics to create the color inside, or to use some of these sprays, and then you come back and you shade around the wings, and then you add in some line work for the veins, and then your dragonfly's done. It's like, it's so rewarding and so easy. You know, I always looked at butterflies. I thought, oh God, I got to put color in here and then this bit, and oh, how's it gonna look? And oh my gosh, this is so much work. No, that's not the way you do. I mean, you can just do kind of mixed media style spritz of color here and there, swatches of color here and there, and then you know your eye sees what it wants to see. The eye sees the outline and it sees all the background color, and you haven't had to individually go in there with a tiny little brush and create every little aspect of color. And I know a bunch of you know that already, but for those who hadn't thought of it or hadn't done it before, and of course, you know, Sandy McTeer, she does that a lot with her dragonflies. You know, it's what's in the background and then shading. Okay, now I have to grab my sprays that I use back here. So there's two blues that work really good: Azure, Apothecary Azure, and Hydrangea Blue. And I think I may have put them away, so I have to grab them out of my box. Because what we're going to do is we're going to reintroduce some of those colors into the dragonfly. Look how pretty these little, I mean, you know, we didn't do a lot of fussy stuff on the flowers. but look at them. They just really come to life. The sprays had not gone far. My chair is not working now. Let's get it up. Okay, there we go. Trying to slide my chair, it was stuck. Okay, so you want to get like a stippling brush or a blending brush. You can use a dry brush. For this is really good kind of blending and dry brushy. So it's the Dynasty 200. I thought I had a bigger one, but I do have bigger ones, but I don't know if I have the right size I'm thinking of. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and spray some of these, the blue. This is the Apothecary Azure, and then this is one of the reds, Peony Scarlet. So there were a couple of reds I suggested and a couple of blues. And we're going to use the blue towards the center of the wings. Up on the head area too. And then out towards the edges of the wings. Okay. And then we're going to take the blue, and you have little segments here, so it's going to alternate between the blue and the red. So the azure, the Apothecary Azure, is not as brilliant as the Hydrangea Blue, but they kind of both do a similar thing. And we'll have a little bit of red and blue up at the top there. Okay, so dry that a little bit. And then we're going to use the red. And we're going to go in between the segments and just dabbing it in. It's not supposed to be perfect. Okay. And then there is already a lot of red on that side, but you can come in with extra red in places here. Just to re-emphasize it, you know. Drying from the bottom just to see if I can get my paper to go flat. If you have ever been a paper crafter, that's a trick that you use when your paper starts to curl, when you start doing all these fancy colory things with it. Okay, so let's look at the two other options that we have. So every time you do it, it looks different. It just looks different every time you do it. So we need to do some line work on our Dragonfly. So you can see I used a variety of different things. You can use a marker, a pen, a Posca pen, a liner with Snow White. So anything you want to use, and we're using white and also black, but it needs to be drier. So the next thing we're going to do is work on our flowers. So when you have a Columbine, you get this sort of curling that happens at the edges of the petal, and it kind of goes white there. And we're going to come back and do some various, not so much floating, because that does something different, but we're going to kind of come in with a liner or a round to create some of this. And you can see I also used some paint pens. So, get some Snow White. And just put that there a second. Just kind of want my sample handy so I can kind of remember what I did. So if you want to make it just a little bit watery, not just thick white, you can do that and then tap that off on your paper towel. And you're just going to come in, make sure it's not too wet and too goopy, and you're just going to add in a little bit to the edges here. I'm also going to just have a little bit of a line coming down. So if you want to extend the lines, so we've done the little bit of the petal that's kind of curling, but if you want to extend the lines to outline the petal, you can. You can do this with a liner or a pen, marker, and I'm using right now, I still have my number 2 round. Now the paint pen creates a little bit more brighter, sharper color. So there's nothing to say that you can't do both, that you do a little bit of paint work and then you come back with your marker or your pen. So, and that will, now it depends, maybe you want it a little less bright and you can just do that with the paint. And Need a little highlight on the spurs as well. Yeah, those are getting a little thick. So again, you can use a marker, paint pen to do the work around the dragonfly and the veins inside the dragonfly. So this one has a lot more yellow than that one, but hey, that's fine. So I could get a paint pen. I'm just going to see if I start lining the outside of it, how it looks with the brush. So I made my segments a little brighter than I did there. Okay, so now I need to come in with a primary vein line and then some branches off of that, and I'll come back with black after this. So, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna just do a primary vein line at the top. Okay, then I'm just gonna start adding in some random branching off. Okay. All right. Now I want to do a little bit of work with my black marker. So you can see I kind of go back over. Got to put some legs in as well. And I'm not using any black marker down here. So I'm just gonna, the brush gave us a lot of different kinds of levels of strokes. But like I said, you can use your Posca pen. Or whatever you like to use for your line work. Whatever kind of white pen that you have. I'm trying to get this black pen to work. It doesn't look like it's, it looks like it's kind of dry. Let me see, get another one. Yeah, that's better. That's juicier. So you're not trying to go directly back over everything that you just did. You're going kind of in and around the same area. And it just really creates a very interesting effect, having the black and the white working together. So in this, you're trying to do squiggles for your, so you're really striving for imperfection. It's like squiggly, 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 squiggly. Squiggly imperfection, squiggly, squiggly, squiggly. So I didn't do this on the first one, but nah, I don't want to do that. I was going to say you could go back around the dragonfly, but I don't think I like that look. Okay, oops, legs. Legs. Okay, so they just kind of come out from here. There we go. Yeah, this one was much darker because I used Payne's Gray and then I put the aqua, nope, not aqua, Cobalt Teal U on top of it. This one is just the Cobalt Teal U. And that's up to you whether you want it to be darker. So I'm trying to think what else I need to do. Okay, well, this was a little bit brighter with the paint pen, so I could do that. I could come back with the Posca pen if I wanted to, kind of like make it a little bit brighter. But the other thing I need to do is to show you how to put this on the wood. Okay. How to glue it onto the wood and stuff. I forgot about that. I need to paint this. So I painted the back and painted the front. Now, this thing, it has a little hole for you to be able to hang it from the wall. So if you want to hang it from the wall, you just do that. It's all ready to go. You got the cutout. However, if you think you want it to stand up, then you can use this piece here. And it is a kickstand. So you have to make sure you know what you want to do, because once you put this on, once you glue this down, you can't use this part anymore to hang it on a wall because it won't reach, because this is very thick, right? So you have to make a decision. Do you want to hang it on the wall or do you want it to be on a kickstand? And to do the kickstand, you basically are lining the bottom of this up and you measure for your metal and you glue this piece down. This piece is loose. So once this piece is glued into place, then this kickstand will work. So I will have to show you that. Yeah, I think I used Deep Pond. But you can use whatever darkish blue you have, like navy blue might work. So let me go ahead and get this first coat on here. So you want to do these pieces here. So you don't do the front, you don't do the piece that we're going to glue the artwork onto. This is the back. So those pieces all need to be painted. Okay. And I'm going to just use this Deep Pond. And you use whatever color. It reminds me a little bit like of the Royal Navy blue. Let me see. In the Americana line. Like deep midnight blue would work. Deep midnight blue. If you want it to kind of match the same tone.
Days roll by, grass so green, trees sway and sigh, fireflies light up the summer night, stars above shining bright and tight, popsicle in hand, bare feet on sand, sandcastle built, then washed away again. Laughter echoes warm and free, memories made sweet and sweetly. Oh, how I love this summertime. With every breeze my heart takes flight.
I need to get this video made. I'm gonna kind of rush this a little bit more than I would normally. Okay, so there's, I have this little spatula thing here. There's different kinds that you can get. I have these on my website. And then there's this one here. I'm going to use with the glue, and I'm going to use art glitter glue. So I just had a second go. Oh, it's right here. There it is. It's like, where is it? Oh, it's right there. Okay. So this is still a little wet. Normally I would prep this more. This needs to be sanded, and then a second coat if I really want to do it right. And then I would go ahead and varnish it. But I need to put this down. I need to show you guys how this works. So this is going to be glued down. Now, the glue dries, this glue dries pretty fast. You may have your own preference for glue, but I really like this a lot. It does dry fast, so you kind of have to work fast, but then you don't have a lot of curling going on, because one of the things with some of the glues, PVC glues that are out there, is they don't want to dry and they want to curl up. And then, like, some people put books on top to get everything to dry. Well, I did that once, and all of my artwork laminated. So it just peeled. Oh, it was just horrible. I had spent so many hours working on a piece, and I used the glue that was supplied to me by the teacher. Never, ever, ever, ever again. I'll just do it my way. So I'm going to use the art glitter glue. I'm going to spray this a little bit with water, just because the glue's going to want to dry like so fast. And I want to give myself a little bit of time to work here. So gonna go ahead and start squeezing this out. Gotta work fast. Well, this isn't even wanting to come out right now. Just gonna go ahead and do it this way. Okay, so I'm gonna just start spreading this. I may have put too much glue down and also too much water. The first time I did this, I did not use water, but I'm gonna spread this out the best I can. Okay, take it almost up to the edge. Don't really want it spilling over the sides. Yeah, I actually probably put too much water down. All right. Now, clean your hands good. And remember, this stuff likes water, likes to reactivate with water. So try not to get glue or water on the front. Okay, so you're gonna lay this down. And then what I tend to do is I get a piece of palette paper. If I had thought to do this before, I put that down. So I get a piece of palette paper, and I'm using the side that is the side you apply the paint to, the slick side. And so this is just shy of the wood. It's going to be covered up, but you want to try to get it as straight as possible. Also get yourself a paper towel that is clean. Okay. So now I'm going to lay this back over, and you're going to start pressing. And if glue is coming out, you want to get that with your paper towel. If your paper towel starts getting dirty with something, get another paper towel. So this palette paper really, really helps because you're not having to rub on your artwork. So, and you can use something like a roller or squeegee, like I was just using. You just want to make sure your palette paper is not sticking to your artwork. So this is an old brayer that I used in paper crafting. So there's a lot of glue there. Get your paper towel. Okay. Get another paper towel. Okay. Just try not to get the glue on top of your project if you can. Okay. So it feels pretty flat, and it's mostly not curling up on the edges, but remember, you have a piece that's going to go over the top of it. So even if it is curling up slightly, it will be locked into place. And that's how you do that. You work fast. That's how you do the glue. You got to work fast. And you want to spread it out like you saw I did. And you don't want too much that everything oozes out. So this is done. Except for a spot I got right there. Okay, good. Phew. So that is waiting for this piece here. Okay, so this is still a little wet. It's not too bad, but it is still a little wet. But because I need to get this video done for you guys, I'm going to rush it so I can see where I got some goop on the inside that's not wanting to dry. Okay. So I have these waxes that I sell. They're decor waxes. Now that one, the only ones I have for sale are these, which is a rusty red. That one is green? No, brown. It's a brown, and that one's a gold. So those are on my site, and then those two are available on my site. There we go. I do have one of those. Okay. Oh, crisis averted. Okay, so if you can rub this on with your fingers, which is probably the easiest way to do it, you also can, and you don't need a lot. So the wax is a sealant. So like, it won't really accept varnish after you have wax on it, but you can try. So you can use your finger, you can use a sponge to apply it. And you can see immediately how it gets iridescent. So the white will have like a little bit more of a white chalkiness, not chalky, it's glimmery, but it won't be quite as much like this purple tone to it that we're getting. Let me get my, go out a little bit. So, let's see. If I wanted to add in like a little bit of blue and lighten it up, I could do that. But like I said, I don't really have all of these colors on my website. So. And again, these are waxes, and I use them a lot in furniture refurbishing. And you do kind of want to buff them a little bit. Sometimes you can use like a buffing sponge or a buffing brush or your fingers just to keep rubbing it in. Or you can even use one of these just to get the wax into the wood. So then I'm going to come back with more of the iridescent on top of that. And like if you don't have any of these decor waxes, if you've got any of the enchanted shimmers or whatever from DecoArt, that would make it have this shimmer to it. Because what I'm trying to do is, you know, you think about dragonflies and the way that their transparent wings kind of shimmer in the sunlight. And so I wanted the frame to kind of complement that idea of a shimmery wing on a dragonfly. Okay. So, but again, you can use any of these enchanted colors. Like there's an enchanted blue. This would look great as a top coat on that deep midnight blue. One of those colors, that would work really well too. Okay. So if you have a soft rag, that's better than a paper towel, but right now I have a paper towel because that's what's handy. Okay. And I'll play with that a little bit more. So what you want to do then is you will be gluing this in place. Using the art glitter glue or whatever glue you want to use. So you're going to glue this in place. So it's very easy to glue that in place. And then, like I said, the other thing you have to decide is whether you want to put the kickstand on. And again, the kickstand, you line the bottom part up to figure out where this goes. So you're going to do a measurement and you're going to find center. I'm just estimating it now. And once you do that, you can just remove that. Mark this off where it's supposed to be glued down. Like put a little chalk mark there and glue it, put it down, let it sit for a little while. And then the kickstand will go back into the back and you'll be able to stand it. However, you need to make a decision whether you want it to be a kickstand or whether you want it to hang on the wall with that hole. Because once you glue that kickstand on, you will no longer be able to hang it on the wall with that little notched out hole. Okay, I think that is it. That's all. And I hope you enjoyed doing this Columbine Dragonfly among the Colorado Columbine. So if you have any questions, just drop me a note. Thank you so much for watching. This is Kathy McAllister, Teawife Creations, and we'll catch you next time.